Hey guys, on this video we are going to continue with the cooling system. Pull the fan off. We're going to hook the fan up directly, test it out. We got to drain the cooling system. I still got to finish up the ignition from the last one. I got a couple wires to figure out, and we're going to continue on all that. And we have a lot more videos after this one, so stay tuned. If you got this bike, it's very helpful. If you don't, it's general advice. I forgot to video this part, but we're still on the ignition, which the sun's probably pretty bad here. Apologize for that. Let's see. Yeah, you can't see, so there's ignition. I've got it hooked up wire by wire. I figured out the red and black. I can't figure out if I need the green one or this black and white striped one into the VTR. Now, this spade in the VTR actually goes directly into the radiator fan. On this bike, there's two radiators, but only one fan. It's on the right-hand side. And it actually takes 12 volts into this plug right here, which we figured out. Ugh, this is a bad time to be doing this with the sun. But the fan will not turn on unless the switch is grounded. So I need to get this radiator out of the way just to get access to it. I need to drain all this fluid anyway because we have a coolant leak either in the tank or the main pump, which we'll get to eventually. So I want to pull this radiator off so I can get to the fan that's behind it and easily make sure the fan works. I don't even know if this fan works. I've never seen it run since I own the bike, so not really sure. But I popped this hose off, and letting about a gallon so far has come out. I know there's going to be more in here. I'm going to probably just do that hose next, because this thing will not pull off at all because there's a top hose right here where it gives it no slack. So I want to make sure it's all out of that hose so I don't make too big a mess. Alright, so I'm going to work on taking this hose off. You could use a Phillips, it's quicker to get these. Could throw a little wrench. These tubes have never been removed, I can tell, these hoses, since the bike was bought, because you can tell first of all by where the indent is from the clamp. Second is they are a bear to get off, so I gotta sit this down and pry it off with the flat blade. Taking these bolts off, these are 8mm, the two bolts at the top that hold this radiator tight to the frame. They were definitely stuck. I heard that satisfying crack for the first time. Okay, so the radiator is loose, but it's this hose up here that's really holding it on. The cap, it's pretty much been emptied that way. I can move it out a little bit. There's the fan back there with the great lighting. You can't see a thing. So let's try debating whether I should take that top hose off first or the bottom hose and just make a mess. I think I'm just going to make a mess. Wear safety glasses, fellas, because you don't want antifreeze in your eye. Alright. Put this down again. Have to pull sideways, pull the radiator this way, and pull the hose that way. Well, here's something to point out. On the bottom of the radiator, there's actually another bracket right here. Don't know if you can see that, holding to the radiator, so I gotta take this bolt out. Alright, of course they use a 10mm bolt under there and 8mm bolts for the two top ones. It couldn't all be the same, it'd be too easy. Now, that's way looser, yep. It's my fault for not seeing that. Now I can pull this out and make a mess. Well, I'm not being very smart about this. It just doesn't want to come, so I'm going to disconnect from the engine side. I'm going to disconnect from right here, and then just pull this whole thing forward. I had a plastic piece snap out right there. I think that holds the fan wires on to this bracket somehow. Pretty positive. Of course, I didn't see exactly, so we'll have to figure that out upon reassembly. So let's see. This one looks pretty darn rusted too. Oh, good. We got it broken loose. Huh. I guess that one's rusted maybe from the engine being through the engine. I'm not sure. Or it's been taken off before. That slid out of the way enough. Sorry about the camera. Alright. Now I'm going to pry that off with the screwdriver and make a mess that way. Alright, surprisingly, nothing came out of there. It must have all drained down to this bottom hose, but I figured there'd still be some left because this has got a little bit of an upward. There is actually, so let's just do this. And keep this away from pets because it tastes sweet and it's poisonous. And I think that's it. I'm going to work on taking this all the way off, get it out of the way, get to the fan and that plug and figure out how that works. We have success. There's a radiator. There is some disgusting crossover hose to the other radiator. I will probably be replacing that and this hose down here because this is right behind the exhaust and between the engine. It gets really hot. And that one is in the front that gets all the front end garbage on it, and it's really grimy inside. So as long as you're doing this much work, you might as well replace a lot of this stuff and not have to deal with it for a while again, probably forever. Let's keep the bike that long, which I doubt I will, but it's off. Now we can deal with testing this fan out. We could do just 12 volts directly and see if it spins. And if it does, then we just got to figure out the wiring. This here is the temp switch that triggers the ground to the fan and starts it up. So the antifreeze continually goes through there by that temperature switch. When it gets hot enough, it triggers it and indicates the antifreeze is too high of a temperature and kick the fan on. Some people have put in a manual fan switch too, so when they see the temperature creeping up on the instrument panel, because that's a separate reading, but it should be the same temperature, they can preemptively kick the fan on ahead of time, so it's not trying to keep up. I think it's a pretty good idea actually. Alright, I'm going to turn this off and look at the fan. Back after a little break. I got the radiator off and I need to ground the fan now, so come in here, and what I see is basically, here's your plug going in. You got two wires, so the positive is coming in here, positive's coming in here, it's going into the fan, going to the ground. This ground wire actually comes out and attaches to this plug right here. There is a spade connector that does slide on. That plug is its temperature. This is a temperature plug. It just threads into the side of the radiator right here. So again, when the coolant is flowing through, it's changing the temperature of this brass plug. Eventually it gets to the point where it triggers, and I don't know how this works inside this plug, how it ends up grounding. I'm assuming a metal expands in here and touches and forces the ground. So that ground is to the frame of the radiator, which is connected to here, flows back to your plug. So now that I have this off, I basically can apply 12 volts to this one side here, this one that goes to the fan, and put the other 12 volts back on this guy over here, and the fan should start. Alright, let's get that hooked up. I'm going to take that thing, I'm using a jet ski we have here because my battery for the bike is dead. So I got jumper cables, I'm going to have jumper cables on the jet ski. And then we're going to use those guys to connect to here. I've got the actual wiring harness plugged back in for the fan. So we got green coming in, this black wire here power comes into here. It's trying to get out this way, and usually goes to the the heat switch. But I've got that plug pulled off, and I've got just a small jumper, which is enough for these 12 volts to come from here, just go right back to the ground, the fan's on, which is going to travel right back to this connection. So now, when I turn the ignition on, the fan, if I have the right power lead connected down here, it's either this black and the black with the white stripe one or this green one. When I turn it on, the fan should start immediately. If it doesn't, I'm going to try switching the wires, try it again. If it still doesn't, then I'm wondering if this needs to be on ground somewhere. I don't know, that's my other guess. There's probably a way to measure voltage coming out of here, obviously. So if I connect a multimeter to here, and I try to ground it to the frame, for example, if it is a ground, I'll get nothing. If it's not a ground, I'll get a nice spark. So let me try not doing that first. Let me just try with the connection and turn the key on and off, see if that works. Alright, so hold on, got to connect the jumper cables. Alright, so I've got one lead disconnected on the other side. Here's the negative guy, and I've got the negative one sitting out here. It's the actual battery terminal. Take the red one right here. We do not want to touch the frame once the battery's live. So you make sure you got that in a spot where it's not going to slip and touch your frame, because that will cause a short. I got the key turned off. So actually, let me do this. Let's take this off, attach it to our Lightning McQueen bed sheets right now, and then let's plug in this. So we've got power going to both. It's really cramped and dark down here. I've got a hole that's maybe 12 inches wide. I got to switch hands here, guys. And like 12 inches long and 4 inches wide. And it's kind of dark. So I've got to try to get this negative on the battery down here, which is not fun. It seems to be on. It's just a peace of mind. I stick this big, nice foam sponge between the two in case they try to jump off and touch each other. So I got power going to the cables right now. I've got the switch in the off position, which is over here. Okay, let's put the red on. That fell off. Having one hand really does not make this easy. I got power to the bike right now. So let me find where my ignition fell. Alright. Can't really set the camera anywhere. So making sure none of that stuff touches. And I've got no lights right now. So to turn the key on, there's somewhere I can set this. I'm gonna try this, guys. Might have to just edit it out. Probably can't see anything. Turn the key on, I've got nothing. That's depressing. I do have the horn though, so that works. So let's go back and do it this way. Let's take this green one out, or black one out, I'm sorry. Put the green one in. Make sure nothing touches. Try the key again. Nothing. Terrific. Not what I wanted. So set this down and go disconnect the battery. Set it down. Let's disconnect the battery here. And get that on there, because I do not want that touching the frame or anything. Now I'm wondering if that green cable needs to be, the green wire also needs to be connected. All right, I'm gonna stop and think about this for a while. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please press the like button. Theo would appreciate it, wouldn't you, buddy? We got a lot more videos coming up about this bike, and we're gonna mix them up with some other things that maybe aren't bike related. So please watch and subscribe if you really like it. Thank you.